My name is Q. I'm an event producer in the entertainment industry. This podcast is me and my colleagues talking about how we got into the business, offering career advice, and just chatting about whatever's happening in the world today. Please enjoy.
Okay, sorry about that.
All good.
I have a child that has 4 legs, so it's pretty good.
All good. All good. How long you had the dog for?
I've had Prue for 3 months.
3 months. Nice. So
Yeah,
you
but
get him as
she's
a
only
puppy?
4 months. Yeah, she's a puppy.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. Yeah. Puppies can be a handful. Yeah. So you moved into your new spot with a new puppy.
Yeah, I had the puppy first before I moved.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 months before moving, I had her,
Mm-hmm.
and then I moved.
I got you.
So she kind of got used to my mom because she has so much more like backyard space and
Mm-hmm.
walking was easier. But like right now, it's kind of we're trying to both shift because we had the whole neighborhood and now we don't have the whole neighborhood anymore. So it's
I
hard.
got you. What area are you in?
I'm in the energy corridor.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're not too far from Sugarland, so it's not bad.
I'm like 30 minutes, but like she has motion sickness, so that 30 minutes feels like an hour to her.
Ah,
She's
wow.
still young, so like I'm constantly like putting her in a car at least once a week or going from like 10-minute rides, 20-minute rides, 30-minute rides to an hour to try to get her used to it because she's gonna be able to travel since she's a service dog. So
Oh, nice. A service dog?
yeah, she is a service dog. She's registered. She actually is getting ready to go to boot camp in 2 more months. She's gonna be gone for 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she's gonna get trained for her service and then she's good to go.
Nice. That's very interesting.
So yeah.
I got you. Well, I really appreciate you hopping on this, man. Definitely wanted to chat it up with you. I know you have lost your camera.
Yeah, just a little bit. Sorry.
Okay. I know you work for the city and done a lot of different things throughout, the city of Houston and politics, especially while you were in college. So we're just going to speak on stuff like that and just have like a very fluid, genuine conversation. I didn't make a script with this show because I just knew we were just going to shoot from the hip and, do what we need to do, because you're not unfamiliar in this space. I think you did a couple episodes of a podcast back in the day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Well, welcome to another episode of the Q It Up podcast. I have an amazing individual on the line today. This person is fam. We grew up together, bro. Like literally down the street. Spend so much time at our house with her family and everything. And I'm sorry. Before I get into it, definitely going to talk about mental health stuff. I just wanted to make sure that was okay as well.
Oh yeah, no, go for it. Look, that's all me. Sunday's mental health day for me anyway, so.
Okay, I got you. So is there any subjects that should we stay off topic?
No, I'm an open book.
Okay, awesome. I definitely want to talk about, dealing with your parents and that situation that happened when you was younger and stuff like that, how that affected you and all that. So is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I want to be sensitive to everybody's situation because you never know.
I understand. I completely understand.
I got
you
you.
don't want to mental breakdown on your show.
No, it's all good. So absolutely, I have an amazing individual. We grew up together and know a family very well. Stayed down the street together. Went to high school for a few years. Then you transferred to a different high school that opened up, Travis High School in Fort Bend. So I just want you to take this time to introduce yourself to the world. Tell them what you're doing, what you got going on, and etc. Okay.
Well, name's Amber Fannin. As of right now, I am a librarian for the City of Houston's public library system. I pretty much work over youth services. I work with our little guys from 0 to 18 months, and then there's like a gap, and then I work to our teenagers, like our tweens and our teens. So our 9-year-olds all the way to 19. So I have a huge gap between kids, but those are my dominant areas. I did run for office in the last election cycle. I did not win my election, but I did lose by maybe I think 1,000 votes in my election.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't bad for my first run. If my opponent didn't get 50%, we would have been forced to go into a runoff. I got second place. So it worked. Nice. It worked differently in its way. And forgive you if you hear any scratching in the background. I do have a dog, and she's like her cage. She's in her cage. She is like a hippie. She likes to be free, and right now she's in trouble, so she has to be in her cage.
Completely
Forgive
fine.
the scratching in the background. But I do a little activist work. I work with Covenant House, which is basically an organization that works with our displaced youth to give them housing, to give them opportunities to get back into school, give them an opportunity to job. I also work with Food Not Bombs. It's also an organization that works with our displaced individuals in the city of Houston. We do feed every day. We are sponsored by different other organizations like Whole Foods and a lot of Muslim organizations within the community that donate a lot of food. On top of that, I am actually a union representative for the library division. So if someone needs to speak to a union rep or feel like they want to join the union and they're in the library department, I am the go-to girl. You come talk to me. You have a problem with one of your managers or anything, you feel like something's unethical happening at your branch or in your practice, I am the girl you go to. I am also a part of Black American Democrats for the City of Houston. I'm a part of that organization as well. So I am kind of like in a lot of stuff. As Q would know that I was always an active kid. There was never a time that I was not doing something. So it just carried over to adulthood.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go into your childhood, man. What set the tone for you to be so active in the community?
I don't know. I guess it's because of the shows I watch that make me want to get active in the community, because there was a lot of shows like I don't know about you, but I was a PBS kid. I loved PBS. And like my favorite show on PBS was Zoom. And it was like every kid could be at home in front of their TV and do a craft with somebody on TV. And like it's funny how I do that as a living now. Like I do crafts and read to kids and do all this stuff. But that's what I did as a kid. I loved watching Zoom. They had a lot of community ideas. So I just took it and applied it to my community.
Okay.
Started a fire.
Understand. So you took that passion for community activism and you decided you wanted to get more into politics. I believe you started when you were in college, just going to different town hall meetings and other stuff like that. What really drove you to start getting more involved from that spectrum of community service?
I kind of feel like I had the political bug since the 5th grade because I ran for student body president then. And the reason why I've always wanted to step in that arena of politics is because I know what it felt like to not feel like you have a voice, to feel like you're being ignored, and to not have someone be there to defend you. It sucks. So it's like, and that's on every aspect, whether it's like bullying or whether it's like, professionalism, you kind of feel like if you don't have anyone backing you, it's a hopeless case. But I kind of want to be that person. I'm loud. I'm very loud. I'm a person who does not like bullying, and I feel like people who do not look out for the citizens are bullies. And so I have no problem standing up to that person and saying, hey, this is completely wrong. Someone deserves to have the same rights as you. And I don't have no problem going tit for tat and make sure that happens. So that's why I love politics. Plus, there's a lot of loopholes. If you don't like something, amend it.
Absolutely. So going on the bullying topic, I was unfortunately there doing some situations with yourself in high school. And, I just want to speak more on that in regards to what were those situations like? How did you deal with it? And did it mentally hurt you for the long run?
My bullying was I wouldn't say it was short-lived. It was short-lived, but it was concentrated in that short lifespan that it had. It was really just only from like 8th grade to 9th grade. And I guess when I transferred schools, all of that just kind of went kaput. But to answer your last question, did it hurt me in the long run? I would say yes and no. Yes, because it constantly has me on this defensive aspect of life, right? And it's just like I'm always going to have to be on this. I'm going to be protecting myself at all time. I'm always on go mode, where you don't have to always be that. I'm learning to debunk that I don't necessarily always have to be ready for whatever. Like you don't have to always be ready to go guns a-blazing. But I would say that it didn't hurt me in the long run because it also gave me the strength that I needed to overcome a lot of stuff. That the little things that I did go through at the time that I was being bullied, you're going to have to deal with that in the lifestyle that I'm walking into, right? You know, there's a real thin line between constructive criticism and being malicious.
Absolutely.
And when you're well, I don't like to classify myself as an activist, but since we're going to do so, as an activist and as a person who's into politics, you're going to get constructive criticism. You're going to get banter, taunted. You need to have thick skin. And that was the first thing that I was told when I ran for office, like, you got to have thick skin, because if not, they're going to run you up out of here. It's not for the weak. So I think it benefited me in the long run after all.
Okay. What were some of the things that, you know, you were getting bullied for at that age, if you recall?
You know what's funny? During the time that it was like really, really bad, because of course when you were younger, you got teased. I got teased because my last name was Fannin. I got called and which turned into a nickname, which is Fanny Pack. So I think that was kind of funny. But in that time of bullying, I was dealing with verbal and physical. And, you know, at that time, it was a really, really dark place. It was a lot going on. You know, I was a freshman in high school. That's a big milestone. You know what I'm saying? That's completely changing your lifestyle. And then all the relationships that came before then, before the bullying, kind of just changed. It's like everybody turned their backs on me, because my bully was upset that I did not want to pretend to be his girlfriend, because he was gay and he didn't want to be honest about his sexuality. And me being me, I want any and everybody to live up to their truth, like who they are.
Yeah.
And not be unapologetic about it. And I told him no, like, I'm not going to do that. And so he spreaded a rumor basically saying that I spreaded a rumor at our church that he was gay. And so everybody jumps on this one like little lie, and just it blows up. He has older siblings that goes to the high school, and they were popular, and that's how I was getting into it at the high school. It literally just transferred over when I ended up going to our high school before we went to track. But I dealt with getting jumped from male and females alike. I dealt with, you know, my clothes being, you know, taken out of my athletic locker, thrown in a trash can, or thrown in in a toilet somewhere, and somebody using the bathroom on top of the clothes. I've had my stuff stolen. I've had push tacks put in my shoes. I've had my track spikes messed up to a point where I was sliding on the track and not getting traction, and I hurt myself. And yeah, so that it was a lot. It was a lot of mental and physical abuse, and going home and being blamed for the bullying made it worse. It felt like I didn't have an outlet. So yeah.
So you go to school and you're having all this major abuse, then you going home thinking that's going to be your safe space, and you're not getting that support from your parents. How did where was the come to Jesus moment between yourself and your parents, or did it ever happen in regards to your mental space?
It didn't really take into, like, it really hasn't even taken until, like, even now. I think the light bulb is slowly coming on. My dad knew it was a problem, but he didn't know to what extent. But I know when it really hit its peak, my dad stepped in. It was like, I let your mom try to handle this. This is not working. It's time for the dads to come to the table and fix this, because this is not working. And I think that came to a point when I was getting ready to go to a game. I had a volleyball game that day, and I didn't go home. Well, my bully and all his friends come to my house and were like trashing my house, kicking in my door, tearing my fence apart, breaking windows, like destroying my garage door, because, you know, it had that little latch, and it was trying to pull it up, but, you know, I have a mechanical one, so like you have to put a code in, so you're like literally breaking our garage, which is thousands of dollars to fix. It was just a lot of damage going on at the house, and like my mom didn't believe that my bully was bullying me. She felt like, y'all are arguing, and this is what it is, and that wasn't the case. So when he called me, and he was just cutting up a storm, I gave the phone to my mom, like, here's your proof.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, who is this and what's going on? She figured out who it was and said, take me home.
Yeah.
I got a demerit. I missed the game. Didn't care. Like, take me home. Me, my mom and my dad hit that corner at the same time. It was at that moment my dad was like, enough is enough. I'm stepping in.
Okay.
Go change some clothes and go handle your business. So we gonna go in his house and you better go get your daddy and bring him back over here and we're gonna continue talking because this is ridiculous. So it changed. It stopped before I went to Travis, but it tried to spark up once and it was dead. It was DOA. So after that, we didn't have no more problems.
Understand. You transferring to a school that, it wasn't a crazy distance between, Fort Bend Bush and Fort Bend Travis. It was probably a hop and a skip, maybe a 2-mile difference. Did being in that different space, in that different area, definitely help with your mental moving forward in your high school experience?
I honestly, no. And Drew agrees, no. Well, I went from a dominant Black high school. Well, I was blessed to have the upbringing that I had because I will say that it did get me prepared for all aspects of life.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started going to school, it was a very diverse school, very diverse. There was no dominant any race there. And then I went to a dominant Hispanic and Black middle school. Then I I went to the dominant Black Mexican high school. And then they rezoned us, and now I'm at this dominant white school.
Mm-hmm.
And psyche-wise, it really messed my head up. It was a culture shock because, again, I'm going to school with all these different race of people, and now I'm the minority.
Wow.
Now I know what it feels like to really be the minority because on my volleyball team, it was only 2 Black girls. It was me and the other girl that grew up with all the white girls in that rich neighborhood. Like, I was the outsider. And for the life of me, I didn't even understand why I got picked because, prior to me going to Travis, I only played volleyball, 1 year before that? That was at Bush.
Yeah.
I had no experience before then. So when I made the team at Travis, it was astonishing and I didn't understand why. And my mom had to tell me, well, baby, it's not because you have athletic ability, it's because you fit.
Oh, wow.
I was like, well, what do you mean that I fit? Because, my mom go to the tryouts with me. And so she peeped game. And she was like, what, baby? I said, well, Denise, this other girl that was a teammate of mine, stellar athlete. And I was like, she's an amazing athlete. Why didn't she get picked? She light-skinned. She got hazel eyes. She got this long, pretty ponytail. She's gorgeous. You telling me I fit? She fits. Why didn't she make the team? And my mom was like, she has a terrible attitude, Amber. You have a bubbly personality. You're open. You're a team player. She said, you have all the good things that an athlete needs. However, you fit. You have the hair. You have the persona. You're not a threatening Black girl. That's why you made it. And that was my very first lesson in culture shock. Like, oh, crap. Oh, crap. So it messed with my psyche a little bit, but it did get me prepared for, corporate America. Definitely got me.
Understand. Having that big culture shock, did you kind of have to, not being around your culture and being a minority as much as Bush, did you kind of have to change something mentally or change your persona in regards to how you approach things? Because you are still growing and figuring out who you are at that age. In regards to your personality is going to change. The way you talk is going to change. The way you look on life is going to change. By you being at a primarily white school, did you have to change yourself for that particular environment?
There was times I had to diet back because when the stereotypical angry Black woman, I had to learn how to use it. I needed to learn how to code switch real quick. Code switching was always something that we were capable of doing because we code switch with our parents, right? Like, we talk a certain way with our friends, but then we switch it up when we talk to our parents. We don't use the same lingo with our friends as with our parents. So I already had some type of mind frame of how to code switch. I didn't master it until I got to high school because you have to code switch because there's some things that are acceptable in our culture in the way that we interact with one another that doesn't really apply too well with the next culture. So I really had to be mindful. And I also used a lot of opportunities when it came to appropriate ways to talk about certain topics, because, you know, Caucasian Americans have a real hard time just being, okay? Yeah. They have a really big problem with just seeing somebody that's just gorgeous and just saying you're just gorgeous for being you. No, you're gorgeous because you're mixed, or no, you gotta be mixed, or you're not black. And it's just, I had to constantly use those opportunities as to teach them, like, hey, I could be Afro-American and have this hair, okay? I can have eyebrows that lay down when it get wet. Not every black person is scared to get wet, y'all. Not every black person don't know how to swim. Yes, I can run fast and jump high, but that is not, you know, we're not all born with that ability. Like, there's some people don't have rhythm. There's some blacks with no rhythm, okay?
Absolutely.
Mine's the situation rhythm. I had to teach them that not every black person is the same what they see on BET. That was the hardest thing ever in high school.
Wow. I can understand that. There wasn't a lot of positive, I guess, things from our culture in the media spectrum, you know. No. And I think that's why Black Panther, when that movie came out, it was just so amazing, and everybody was able to jump on that because we finally have something that speaks to us and our culture. You know, I would say similar to Coming to America, but came out before we were born. But I look at that as one of those movies that really speak to us in a positive light. It's not all these slavery movies, your Django's and 12 Years a Slave. It's finally something else besides that reflects our history and where we come from. So, yeah, I can see how that's a hard thing to deal with in that space. Before we move on with the conversation, I have a game I want to play with you. It's called Top 5. So when I used to work for the Rockets, we will do this with anybody that came on, just to, you know, be an icebreaker for us to get to know them better. Okay? So Top 5, I want to know your top 5 Black TV shows.
Oh, okay. Top 5 Black TV shows. I would say, it's just not in any type of order, right?
No particular order.
Oh, okay, cool. So if Martin, it'll be Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay. It will be A Different World.
Oh, nice.
I love Different World. Like, I was really jealous that I was not in college when Different World was, when those kids were in college. Cause boy,
it made college fun, right?
I absolutely. Fillmore. I don't care what anybody says. That is a Black cartoon show because the main character is Black. Fillmore was a cartoon show before its time. Like,
really?
A way ahead of its time cartoon show. Like, he was a Black detective. He had this sidekick that was like serving all these like people subpoenas for doing wrong. It was like dope. It was like New York Undercover for kids. I loved it.
Nice.
And then my last one. Black show, Jesus. So many. I got a good 5. I know, Prue. This is hard, girl. I can feel my pain over there. Did I say Living Single?
No, you didn't.
Living Single. There we go. That joint's on right now. Actually, it's just music.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites as well. That pretty much our list is very similar. I said Martin, Fresh Prince, Living Single. I gotta put Girlfriends on there, and it's weird. Girlfriends was a fire show. Even as a male watching that, it was still very entertaining.
It was very entertaining and educational if you look at it the right way.
Oh, absolutely. Then the next one would be Proud Family.
Hush, Prue.
All right, so do top 5 again. Top 5 Saturday morning cartoons.
Pepper Ann.
Okay.
X-Man.
Oh, fire.
I used to channel hop. What's Fillmore, because that was on Saturday. That was ABC 13. The Weekenders was slept on. That was a really good show. Yeah. And I think my 5th one, a Saturday morning cartoon, would have been Sonic.
Sonic was fire.
That was my show.
That was a fire show.
That was my show.
I got Pokemon number one up there. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. I'm gonna have to steal X-Men because X-Men was a fire show.
It was.
And staying in that same spectrum, Spider-Man, the original animated Spider-Man, Ninja Turtles, and and Recess. Recess was so hilarious, bro.
Recess was an everyday. See, Recess was an everyday watch though.
Mm-hmm.
That was an everyday watch. They used to come on channel 20 every single day after school. So that was definitely an everyday watch.
Oh, I didn't get to see it after school. I saw it like first thing in the morning before catching the bus. If it did come on in the morning.
I will be watching because, well, it depends because when I was like in middle school, high school, I had my nieces at the house. So we'll be watching Hip Hop Harry in the morning while I'm getting ready for work. I'm getting ready for class. And they just be having their lives before they go to school. So it's just like, I didn't get a chance to really watch TV with them.
Okay. All right. So let's go back into the conversation. So going back to your home and upbringing, what is your relationship like with your parents?
As of now?
Yeah.
Right now, me and my mom relationship has strengthened a lot. There's been a lot of growth, a lot of foundation fixing. It's not all been sunshines and rainbows, but I love how much growth our relationship has had. You knew a lot of the struggles that we had when I was a kid. Me and my mom really didn't see eye to eye. And again, it's just, a lot of growth. You have to realize your parents don't get a manual on how to take care of a kid. They can only go by with how they were raised.
Yeah.
Take what they get and move on. But as far as my dad and I, right now we're not in a really good space. We can be in a better place. I'll put it in that perspective. I'm in the process of my little journey with me and my father's relationship that I have set up boundaries, and now everyone is getting used to those boundaries. So there's been a lot of hiatus in our conversation. I think the last time before yesterday that I've talked to my dad, it's been since August.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah.
we're coming up. I mean, from outside of looking in, I felt, your parents had a good relationship. You came up in a 2-parent household. Then I want to say around your junior year, that's when things switched dramatically. Can you talk to me a little bit about, where you were mentally in that space with your parents going through that separation?
For me, during my junior year, well, really, it kind of dates back to my freshman year. Okay. Is where I kind of saw that there was a problem. Okay. Of course, I was the only child in the house. Mm-hmm. And most only children are kind of like grown. Like, we're around adults all the time. We really don't have any other kids. So we kind of grow quicker than those who have like other kids in their house. Mm-hmm. I was in the middle of their shit all the time. It wasn't their fault that I was in the middle of it. I kind of implemented myself into it, and they just didn't complain about it. So, girl, hush, this ain't your story, this mine. Sorry. Oh, good. I'm sure you can edit that out. But they had me in the middle of their drama, but for the most part, I saw it my freshman year in high school. There was a huge fight between my parents. I don't know what the circumstance may have been, but yeah. Can you hold on just a second? Okay.
I got you. Sorry. It's fine. Is it because you're not looking or talking to her as well?
She can't see me. I'm on the floor.
Got you.
It's her cage is in the corner where she can't really see me. Mm-hmm. But like if she can see a foot, she's like, oh, she's still here. Like she can hear me, but she can't see me. It's like, what's going on? What is this witchcraft? But after noticing the signs my freshman year, I kind of was preparing myself my freshman year for my parents to split up, and it never happened. So I was like, okay, I guess they fixed it. And what I noticed happened my junior year, it took me as to be an adult to realize the shift, if that makes any sense. My dad got some real life-changing information in my junior year in high school. Mm-hmm. And it really messed with him emotionally. And I didn't see it for what that was then, because I was a kid. I was like 18, 19 years old. I wasn't paying attention in that aspect. I was 17 or 18 years old at the time, my junior year. So he found out about his biological father and who he really was, because my aunt, who was put up for adoption, found my grandmother. So this whole time, my dad was thinking this one man was his father, and this man dogged him, and he never understood why. Well, come to find out, he was never his father. And the man that was his father, when we found out about him, I think like 2 weeks later, the man passes away.
Wow.
And so what makes matters worse is that my great aunt, which is basically my grandmother's sister, lived on the same street as this man for the past 15 years and knew it and said nothing to my dad about it.
Oh, wow.
So you see, it really messed him up emotionally. And I don't think he got the nurturing he needed to heal and move forward in that moment. So he went seeking other outlets to fix his problem. And that caused his marriage to disintegrate. And it caused his relationship with me to kind of disintegrate as well. Because, I'm seeing this for what it is now. Yeah. I'm not a child anymore. I'm so young, but I'm not dumb. And I can see things for what it is now. So it really, really, really got rocky my junior year in high school. And it just went kaput after that.
I understand. Did your father ever decide to go talk to somebody or utilize tools around him to be able to fix those issues?
I know that when they were going through the divorce that they were going to therapy. I don't know if my dad got therapy after the divorce, but I know during the divorce they did. He said that, I don't want to go to therapy anymore. I still want my divorce, and let's move forward. I know that he's back into church now.
Okay.
So that's really good because, growing up, he didn't really come to church with us. Rightfully so. I respect his reasoning on why he didn't go to church.
What was his reasoning?
He didn't really rock with how the pastor was. And I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. So it's just kind of like, hey, that's enough.
Is this the bridge?
Yes.
I hear that a lot about the bridge, just from other people in the area who said things about how it was ran. So I can understand
we
that.
work in the church.
Oh, so, yeah, you and your mom, yeah, were very...
Yeah, me and my mom both worked in that church. So it's a lot of stuff that, I've seen and know about that made me not want to go back to that church, which baffles me that my mom still goes. So it's just like, why are you still there? And then you wonder why spiritually you're stagnant. Like, come on, sis, you gotta realize. But that's a totally different conversation for a whole different episode, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Did the situations by working at the church and seeing those type of things, did that affect your faith and how you approach it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you have a minister that is blatantly cheating on his wife in front of the congregation on countless occasions, when he gets other women pregnant and bring them into the church, when he's having sex with young girls in the church house and it doesn't come out into the public until the church member is grown, but yet you want to fire somebody for dating your goddaughter who's a consenting adult. You feel me? Like, it was just a lot of mess that didn't need to be inside of a church that was there. And it was just like during, my journey with spirituality, and also because I'm an Eastern Star, we were always taught that church is a business and it should be deemed as so. And that's why I in myself don't understand why people put so much emphasis in being in someone's church house. Oh, you need to be in somebody's church house. Why? When I can go to God myself. I don't have to have a building, or I don't have to have a person to go speak with God. If me, myself, can go speak to my creator on my own, what do I need these two things for?
Absolutely agree. Absolutely.
What do I need for? Like, for what? So he can, decipher this Bible for me in the way that he thinks it is? Because that doesn't work like that. That's not how that works. So let's not do that. But again, that's a different conversation.
I got you. Going back to your childhood, you were definitely a student athlete. You were part of a lot of different things, track, volleyball, and of course the other activities that school has to offer in regards to politics and stuff like that. With your dad having the military background and having a daughter, did that affect you in regards mentally, in regards to how he treated you and how he raised you with his military background, especially going towards athletics and training?
It did. It really did. My entire family's on that. I wouldn't even just say it's just my dad. Everybody will look at my dad's training and be like, oh my God, there's a family here, guys. It is way more. I literally was the laziest one out of the family.
Really?
Yeah, and it's funny how you say, like, what? Like, yeah, I was the laziest one out of the family because
Wow.
I had other things. I was in other organizations that took away from me to be so focused on my sports, which that's what my mom wanted. My mom wanted the balance. She did not want me just strictly being on sports because of how my dad was. But it took a lot. It was good and bad. I wouldn't say that it was completely terrible. I love the fact that I was pushed that hard because it made me work hard. It made me understand work ethic and what that was and how to keep going when you really ain't got nothing left in you. Like, perseverance is real. It's taught. It's not just given. You know, you have to learn how to have that. And I was blessed to have a dad that was my coach, that taught me that aspect. That was the blessing. But the curse in that blessing was I was so hard on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I never had any downtime. I never knew how to take a break. I never knew what it was to like to take a break. Eating had my relationship with food, my relationship with weight, body image was all completely warped due to it. You know, you're talking to a kid that was getting 2-week weigh-ins and having a certain diet during the holidays and working out after practice. You had practice in the morning, you had practice at the school, and then I had after practice with my dad. So I wouldn't be getting home and chilling until a good 9-10 o'clock at night. Kitchen closed at 7:30. So there is no solid meal that you're going to be eating that night. So you have a choice. You have muscle milk or you have water and dreaming of a Big Mac. You decide. And so it was it taught me discipline as well. But in the long run, it really did hinder me because I am a young lady. Women take, body image a little differently. Not saying men don't go through it, but our body image is a little bit more dissected and poked at in society than it is when it comes to a male. Mm-hmm. And when you have a male that's dissecting your body, it's kind of more of like a self-esteem dampener. Like, it's really cutting at your self-esteem, and it's like, there's none left, and you're young. Like, I've been running track since I was 5. You feel me? So from 5 years old to like now 16, 17 years old, that's a lot of traumatic, especially when you're playing multiple sports. You having to bulk up for one sport, then having to turn around and lean down for another one. It was stressful, to say the least.
Absolutely. So going through those traumatic events throughout your life, not only at home, at school, then also your extracurricular activities outside of home, such as church. Did you ever have any thoughts that would be harmful to yourself or others?
Yes. And it was mainly to myself, no others. My best friend, and Jeremy, we all grew up in the same little clique. Mm-hmm. Jeremy, I owe Jeremy illness my life. And I have always said that, and I have no problems in saying that because it's the truth. Me and Jeremy were so close, we had a key to each other's house. Mm. You feel me? Like, that's how close we were. That's how trusting my dad was with Jeremy, and that's how trusting Jeremy's parents were with me. Like, I could come over there whenever I wanted to. If I wanted to spend the night, I could spend the night. He wanted to spend the night, he could spend the night. And so I wasn't answering my phone. I had a really, really, really bad day on the bus. And I don't even remember to the extent what happened. I just know it was really, really bad. And I was ready to go. I was like, I'm tired of dealing with this shit. I'm coming home to this BS. I'm going to school to this BS. I'm going to practice to this BS. I'm not getting any peace. I'm done. And I had found a gun in the house, and I was loading as Jeremy was calling, and I was not answering the phone. I unplugged the phone off the wall, and he just pulled up because he knew I had a bad day. And he knew, like, ish really hit the fan that day. He just knew I didn't take it well. And he was like, in my spirit, something felt wrong. So I came over, and he stopped me. And from that day forward, if you notice, Jeremy started riding my bus. And there was times where me and Jeremy would go to each other's houses after school. It was never a situation where he would just let me go on my bus. We were always together. We were thick as thieves. That was why, because he was like, I'm going to watch you and make sure that you don't do this because you don't have to. And so he's the reason why I did not successfully go through with it. And he was the reason why I continued to move forward and not resort back to that, because he just kept me focused on what's in front of me and not what was behind me.
Yeah, that's good, man. I know Jeremy very well, man. Definitely a solid individual, and God bless he was there for that type of situation, man. And did you ever speak to your parents about this particular situation?
My parents didn't. I think that situation happened my freshman year in high school. Okay. My parents didn't find out until my senior year, and it was because, at the time I was student body president, and we had just came back from state. And yes, student councils have state and nationals. We do that. Mm-hmm. We're more, hanging up flyers. We actually be doing some stuff. But I met this guy at state, and he his whole thing was bullying. And Travis, unlike any other Fort Bend school, we were big on unity and harmony in our campus. There was no such thing as bullying, the hazing between the upper class and the younger class. We couldn't do that. There was no such thing as, hey, you went to Bush and had a letterman from Bush, you can't wear that here. Mm-hmm. We're in RTC at Austin, you can't wear that shirt here because you're a Travis Tiger now. It was really big on unity. And so we were having some sparks and bullying, and I was like, I think this will be a great program for you to bring to our school. And I'm talking to this guy, and he was like, tell me your story, because you obviously have a story. And we got to talking. I was telling him my story, and he was just like, I would love to come to your school. And he actually came to our school and did a discount. Don't know why, but he did a discount. And I'm introducing him, like right before I was getting ready to introduce him, he was like, hey, I want to change the outline of the program today. And I was like, okay, well, what are you trying to change it to? And he was like, well, I feel like you should tell your story instead of me telling mine. Wow. And he's like, because these kids voted you as president. Like, these kids know you. And, a lot of them were there for the time you were really getting bullied. And so it's, you'll be surprised, you'll be shocked that a lot of people didn't even know that's what you was going through. So I think you should tell your story. And so, my parents are there, and like everybody is there. It's like our senior year. It's like our senior week and all this extra theatrical stuff. We're the first graduating class. And I was like nervous, yo. Like, I think only like a few people knew about this story. Of course, it was Jeremy. Jeremy was there. And then it was another close friend of ours that was there. And she semi-knew the story, but didn't really know everything that was going on. And so I told my story, and my parents are there. And I kind of I didn't break down while telling the story. It was afterwards, because I can tell the hurt in my parents, because they didn't know. They didn't know to the extent of how painful that was for me. Because for them, back in the day, sticks and stones break my bones, or, words never hurt me. It is. But, on the flip side of that, I was getting not just verbally abused, but I was getting physically abused. Mm-hmm. So it was not a situation where, I could just dodge these words. I was getting beat up. Like, there was a time I had got beat up to the point I was unconscious in the bathroom, and a custodian found me. Wow. Yeah. So telling stories like that, I had countless people that went to Bush with me at the time come up to me and said, I had no idea, that's what you were going through. And I was talking directly to my bully, because he was there. He came to Travis with me. We were in the same class. Everybody that was doing this dirty work was upperclassmen. So he didn't have that ammo anymore. And I think my freshman year in college, he sends me, a sophomore year in college, he sends me this message of apology for doing that to me.
And how did you feel about receiving that? Did you forgive him?
I did. I forgave him a long time ago. It was just a matter of time when he was going to come to terms and say, hey, I was a shitty person. I was a shitty friend, because I should have took your advice and just be who I was. Because I had a support system. He had me. He had my mom and my dad. So it was like, you have another set of parents that actually will support you for being who you are when your parents are not the ones supporting you. You have a support system. You just don't want that one. And that was the problem.
I understand. So you telling this story reminds me of, have you ever seen the show 13 Reasons Why?
I refuse to watch it because to me it glorifies suicide, so I don't watch
it. I can see it. I don't see it glorifying it. It like tells that story, like your story, like it brings it to light, and it from a student's point of view. So I don't see it as glorifying. But me and Bria were watching it, and it like sparked something in her head, like these memories of the same situations you were going through, of bullying and suicidal thoughts and all that. And she broke down, and it was a certain scene in the show that broke her down, because I guess it's post-traumatic disorder or something. What is it called? PTSD? Yeah. So she was just going through that through the show, and we literally had to turn it off because it just brought up these memories and thoughts and stuff like that. But I thought while watching the show, I was kind of upset from looking at it from my point of view. At this point, at this age, I feel like, why didn't you talk to somebody? Like half this stuff could have been avoided if you just would have spoke up your emotions. But now talking to other people and talking to her, she didn't know how. She didn't know how to verbally tell how she felt and stuff like that. Did you feel the same way?
No. I look. If anybody know me, everybody know Amber Fannin can talk. Okay. Since the moment I could put two words together, I could talk. So if that wasn't the issue, it was the fact of the matter that it wasn't taken seriously.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. I spoke up. I was very, very, very vocal with my mom, and I didn't really go to my dad with it because, you know, in my lifestyle, my dad is the last resort.
Okay.
Because he's I'm pulling up. I don't want to talk, I'm pulling up. So it's like, you're the last resort. We're going to talk to Bob first and see get her on board first. So for that, it was kind of like, I'm confiding in my mother, but my mother was bullied, but she wasn't bullied to the extent that I was. And she just took it as like, girl, they gonna talk, they gonna talk they miss, baby, let them be jealous. And I'm like, no, but it's more than that. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just the words. And so what I struggled with was, how do you ignore physical altercations?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I get, like, you don't have to entertain every situation. Not everything deserves a response. However, karma, I was also raised, if somebody put their hands on you, you shoot their soul straight to God. So I'm stuck in between.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in between.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, that was my struggle, because I didn't have no problem stepping up for myself. I had no problem. Like, look, you wanna to catch this fade, we can catch this fade.
Absolutely.
But I didn't want that to be my identifier, and it became my identifier. Like, even to this day, I have that identifier because of what I was dealing with back then. But when people finally figure out the story, they're like, well, dang, you was just protecting yourself. Exactly. That's what that was. That's
Absolutely.
what that was.
Absolutely. And I feel your story in regards to defending yourself, because, you know, I was bullied in high school as well, but people are not going to take me seriously because you're the big black guy that plays football. I was like, yeah, just because I lift weights doesn't mean I'm not going through my own shit.
Right.
But I remember a situation happened between me and another teammate behind the field house. And I guess I said something that offended him. But in regards to me and fighting, I'm not going to fight you unless it's absolutely necessary, like life-threatening. And you're not mad enough to hit me first, so I'm not going to start it. You can talk all the stuff about mamas, whatever, this or that. But until you're mad enough to hit me, then that's when you can escalate. But I was always afraid to get into a fight, because to me, I'm trying to end your life. Yeah. I'm not just trying to hurt you. Like, you're trying to end my life. This is a life-threatening situation. I'm going to take it to a different level, and you don't want me to be at that level. So that was my biggest fear. Because you go into that principal's office, you get the police officers involved, I might be in jail, you know, dealing with that type of stuff. And especially in that area as a black man, they didn't care. Our police officers didn't care in that area.
Fort Bend County did not care.
Absolutely.
They did
Absolutely.
not care. They still don't care.
Yeah. Nope.
They still don't. You're absolutely correct. They don't care. So, oh, it's these two? Come on. You don't even care. Come on.
Absolutely. And it don't matter what the situation was. They don't want to hear it. They just heard you got into a fight. Why did you get into a fight? What led to this? Or whatever.
They don't
So
care.
ain't trying to
They
hear
don't
all
care
that.
about none of that. Oh, you got in the fight? Come on here.
Yep.
We got some.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've had my moments. I mean, granted, the fear in me was to get into some serious trouble. But see, I was never the person to pick the fight either. Yeah. I never instigated my fight. Well, I let me say this. I spoke enough mess to make you want to hit me. I'm going to talk cash money noise to make you want to hit me. Because my motto was either you mad enough to fight about it. Are you mad enough to fight about it? Or my favorite one, which I need to put on the shirt, is either square the fuck up or shut the fuck up. There's no in between. Yep. Pick a battle. Because I'm not going to sit here and keep going back. I'm not going to argue with you. Yeah. There's so much unnecessary that I don't want to put out there. Look, baby, we disagree. Go on about your business.
If you disagree, disagree. Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree and let's go on about our business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Going through all this stuff in your childhood, did you ever go talk to somebody, or did your parents even believe in therapy, I guess, prior to them dealing with it with their divorce and stuff like that?
My parents did not necessarily use therapy. They did the same thing that every Black person said: pray to God, let God handle it. Let God handle it. You know, turn the other cheek, let God handle it. But then I had a grandma that was real. Okay. And if my parents didn't know, my granny knew. Like, I'm not a person who make any type of moves. Like, I'm grown. I'll be 30 this year. I still don't get up and get on I-10 to go to Beaumont without telling somebody where I'm going. If my mom and my daddy don't know, best believe Patricia Hemmett do, my grandma do. She's gonna know where Amber's at. If my parents is like, I ain't talked to Amber, I know where she at. She safe, she fine. And that's it, that's all. My granny has always been the one to know any and everything about me. There's some things that I've done that my parents to this day don't know about. She does. And so I confided in her. She gave me the advice. I didn't really go to my parents. I had a grandmother that was like, she was real. She was real. I can't say anything outside of that. She was a real individual, and she was like, I'm gonna tell you like it's real. Like, sugarcoat it for what, baby? I want you to be happy. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be protected. So I'm not gonna lie for you.
Why are grandparents like that, man? Why do grandparents have that role? And they just so like you can talk to them so much easier than you can talk to the person that birthed you. You know, it's just a different relationship. As an adult now, and everything you've gone through, do you believe in talking to a therapist now? And do you?
Yes. I brag about my therapist, okay? Like how people brag about their purses. I love my therapist, okay? Like, she's a phenomenal individual, but I always sought therapy on my own. It was not a situation where my parents was like, hey, I think you need to go to therapy. It was always me coming to them, hey, I want to go to therapy. I need to fix something. Something's wrong. I need to fix this. And my dad was always gung-ho for it. It was my mom that was like, therapy for what? And it's astonishing because, you know, my mom's in the mental health field. So it's just like, oh yeah, my mom works in the mental health field. She works for like mentally stable, like, but she's in the mental health field, no less.
Wow.
So and it's a lot of the arguments me and her have. It's astonishing that we are even having it because of the field she in, because a lot of our arguments stem from mental illness and, you know, distress within an emotional distress moment and things of that nature. Like, again, we have grown. Our relationship drastically have grown, and I think it's because it's been a mirroring situation. I think she's realizing that I'm taking ownership, and so now she's taking ownership. So it's like, I have no problem with owning up my F-ups. Like, I'm the queen of saying, you know what, I fucked up. Gotcha. I messed up. What can I do to fix it?
Gotcha. I love it, man. I just started therapy last week, and it took me a while to decide on something because of the platform that's available. How did you choose your particular therapist? You know, what's their race and age range and stuff like that? Did that affect your choice?
It did. All of that took my choice. I needed a female. I needed a Black therapist. I needed a therapist between the ages of 32 to 51. Like, I was very, very particular of what I wanted out of a therapist, because I felt like the other therapists that I had prior to, they helped, but they couldn't cater to, they didn't understand the underlying issues because they couldn't cater to it because it's not their culture. When I started therapy, I was in college. This had to be like my sophomore, maybe my junior year. And I was going to therapy on campus.
Oh, and wow.
Yeah, our campus has an amazing therapist. Her name is Miss Cynthia Knox. She's an amazing therapist. I don't know if Miss Cynthia is still there, but she was definitely there when I was there. And
this is at Lamar, right?
This is at Lamar. She was a phenomenal therapist. You make your appointment in the clinic, and you can go as much as your insurance covers. I was able to have 6 sessions for free due to my insurance, so that was a blessing. And then afterwards, I ended up getting a discounted rate, and it was just added to my tuition. So it was a lot of things that I would love to see college students access. Is our therapists and counselors on our campus, and for those who definitely needed their special needs. They do have special need departments on every university here in the United States. You definitely need to tap into that, because there's no reason for you to be going to school and struggling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those 2 things were beneficial for me while I was there.
Absolutely. When I went to college, my psychology professor diagnosed me being dyslexic. And I was like, I went my entire life struggling with this. And he just noticed it immediately. It's like, are you dyslexic? I'm like, what is that? And he spelled it out for me. I was like, oh my God, this is why I'm the way I am. So yeah, going to college, I mean, yeah, that can be a life changer for you. So actually my stepbrother is a counselor for U of H. So so he does those type of things. So I think it's definitely essential, especially as much as we paying for college. We need all of it. We need it all.
I need all of that. I need all of that. I need all of it. Absolutely.
All right. No, they're not the same artists, but in regards to, if you're going to put 2 artists similar in regards to their achievements around that era of music.
Oh, that era. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you're not going to put Ludacris up to Drake. That's just not even a fair comparison.
Yeah, that's not even fair. Yeah. That's like somebody saying that K-Dot and freaking Andre 3000 to do a versus.
Absolutely.
Andre 3000, okay? No. I'm going to need respect on that man's name and stop playing, okay? Okay.
Like right now, they're thinking about doing Usher versus Chris Brown. I can see the comparison, but Usher came way before Chris Brown came. Like, even though they have similar music, similar styles.
No, but that's because you know what? You know where Chris Brown will murder Usher when it comes to music? That pop life. Because remember, Usher changed over to pop. He wasn't always R&B. Mm-hmm. So he had a really long, and I think he's still considerably pop right now. So he has a really long pop career, as equal amount as Chris. Chris Brown will murder him in that, because Chris Brown pop charts is way bigger than Usher did.
Absolutely.
That's he could probably kill Usher on it. So I can see that competition being.
You can see it. Who else would you try to compete with Usher in that round besides Chris? Because they were trying to do Chris Brown versus Trey Songz. I'm like, oh, that's not even close. Like, Trey Songz has hits, but I just don't see them both on the same spectrum in regards to music.
They're not the same artists, because people are going to classify, well, Trey Songz don't do nothing but yodel. Like, that thing don't do diddly squat but freaking yodel to me. But you're right, that wouldn't have been a fair competition. I feel like Chris would have murdered that. But for Usher on versus,
somebody brought up R. Kelly. Somebody was like, the only person.
He's canceled. Okay, it's a no for me, dog. He definitely does not get a ticket to Hollywood. So no. But damn.
Is Chris Brown the only person available to be able to hold up to Usher? My next person would have been in that same era when Usher was coming up and big would be Genuine, but Genuine.
Okay, this is what I was stuck on. I was trying to figure out who came out at the same time as Usher to be able to compare him. You're right, Genuine did come out at the same time as Usher. I think it would be Genuine and Usher, but part of me feels like because it was so many R&B men that came because D'Angelo came out around that. No, D'Angelo was way after Usher. So yeah, you're right. Genuine, Usher. It was another singer in that group, like a group of people that came out in that generation.
I mean, you had Joe, you had Blackstreet, you had Boys to Men.
You had groups. You didn't have individuals. You really had groups. The only individuals I can think of that could remotely even like. I don't even think they could even hold a candle, but would be Jaheim and Tame because they came on at that same time in the 2000s. But Usher was already established by the 2000s came around. So, yeah, it'll probably only be Genuine to be the person though.
I don't think it'll be a fair fight because Genuine Usher is still producing music. He's still putting out stuff. Like Sex Beat is fire. And he's still dropping hits.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like Genuine's old hits can kill Usher's new hits.
Really?
Sorry. Because he's taking the sip of the pop Kool-Aid. He's not on that R&B tip no more. So if we're going based off of R&B, we're going to be going off of old school Usher and old school Genuine. And Genuine to me, Usher has some bangers, but Genuine's going to give him a run for his money. He's definitely going to be good competition.
I can see that. Man, I think either one, Chris Brown or Genuine, would be a legit battle, so I'll be happy to see that one. But
I don't know who I would use Chris Brown against. I just know it won't be Genuine.
I think that's the only one. Like, there's no other solo artist in the art.
Because
the only other person I can think about is maybe Chris Brown, Justin Timberlake. Or maybe Usher, Justin Timberlake.
Usher, Justin Timberlake, because you know what? They came out around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember that while Justin was on Mickey Mouse Club, Usher was just signed with Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think that will be a better fit. And I would even opt out the NSYNC. I would just do Justin Timberlake as his solo artist.
Ooh. Okay, no NSYNC?
No, because when everybody knew Justin was the Beyonce of the group, gone. Tell me I'm lying.
Yep.
Tell me I'm lying. I went back and listened to Gun, and I was like, oh, this was his moment to say that I'm leaving you guys. This is it. This is the last fake song you're getting out of me because I'm going on my own. Thanks for your help, guys, for being background dancers and singers. Be blessed. He did the Beyonce.
Yeah.
They found out before they were supposed to board their flight for the tour that they were no longer in the group. That's what happened.
Matthew Knowles is trying to bring Destiny's Child back together to do another project and tour. I honestly don't feel that's a necessity right now because they already did it.
No, they didn't.
No, yes, they did. So Beyonce went to do a solo career, and they came back and did another album and tour because me and Brian went to that show.
No, I think he's talking about the original Destiny Child.
Whoa, the original? Like LaToya?
We need the other two girls. We need LaToya and we need Latifah, whatever her name was. Little redhead, fast ass, curly head that got them kicked off the bus. Her.
Nah.
Because I was like, first of all, I didn't know it was so much dirt.
Yeah.
It was so much dirt that.
I actually have a friend who worked at Music World Entertainment for a little bit during some of that, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun stories.
Yeah, I've heard stories, and they were like, "What?"
I didn't realize. Fun fact: I didn't realize Destiny Child opened up for my grandfather back in the day. And I was like, what? Because I was at that show, and that was my first time meeting them. Like, before they were anybody. They were just doing their radio run.
Before Beyonce was Beyonce.
Yeah. I had an autograph poster. I don't know where it is. But yeah. I think Usher versus Justin Timberlake will be a fire one. I do not want to see a Destiny's Child reunion right now, even if you bring the other members. It's just
I don't want it at all.
But I would love to see an NSYNC reunion tour. I think that'd be fire.
Hell no.
What? You don't want
No.
to see it?
Joey's fat.
Yes. He is. He's so fat.
Joey is fat, okay? And Howie, no.
I remember when they did the MTV Awards thing, and they probably had maybe 2 songs. They were on stage for maybe 2 minutes max.
And Joey was fucking 3 counts behind, and look, as a former cheerleader, as a former any drill team member, you will know when somebody is off, okay?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how much you want to just ignore it. It's like you zoom in. It's like, what are you doing? You are 3 counts behind. It drives me crazy when I see it. He's always 3 counts behind. Joy, no. Either get your stamina up or go sit down. No.
They do. Even Kevin Hart, like as soon as they got on stage, he was making fun of him. He was like, "Hey Joey, you gotta work on it, buddy."
It's like, sorry, you're not with it. You're not. I'm sorry.
I feel the same way. Like even when the B2K thing, Millennium Tour was happening, I was really excited because I'm a big B2K fan. But I was very frustrated when it was like maybe a month or 2 before the first tour date that I didn't see any videos of them rehearsing, practicing, nothing. I was like, are you guys not preparing? I don't want to
walk into this shit and it's a shit show. I don't want to walk in here and be like, so y'all didn't practice? I'm going
like, home. And Marion, I get he's been consistently still working, but you other 3 guys, you got to put that work in. That because you've been on a reality show don't mean you've been on that stage. That's a different type of endurance.
That's a different arena, baby. You got to come with it because if you don't,
yeah, Fizz was struggling. You could tell Fizz wasn't a dancer.
Fizz was not Fizz is definitely not a dancer. But I kind of just want to know what his purpose was in the group because he couldn't sing, he couldn't dance, he didn't really have any sex appeal because he never took his fucking shirt off. He was very, 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 very shy, and and then had a list when he rapped. Like, what was your point in the group? What was your
legit the rapper? They wanted the rapper. That's his purpose, the rapper. So hey, if you're gonna be in this group and be the rapper, you got to learn how to dance. That's your only requirement.
I felt bad for Fizz. Okay,
yeah. But he was popular. He had the long hair. He had the ladies went for Fizz because he had the little plaits, the Travis Scott plaits before Travis Scott. He had the long hair. He tied the back. Ladies.
Marion was bae. Period.
He's the lead.
Period. He was bae. Why? Homie was fine. Homie could sing. Homie could dance. I can look at him licking his lips in the camera all day.
I think Fizz was the only light-skinned one too.
No, Raspy was light-skinned.
Oh yeah, he was.
Raspy was transparent light-skinned. He was light-skinned.
Yeah, you needed a balance.
Light-skinned.
You needed a balance. You need 2 coffees and you need 2 caramels.
That boy was Raspy was bright. Okay, little Fizz was little caramel. He was caramel. He was the yellow. Raspy was transparent. He needed to have a chocolate sister to have a baby with some melanin. That's how light skinned Raspy was.
Absolutely. How does it feel to be like the member in the group that literally probably single-handedly tore down the group? And even when you came back to do the Millennial Tour, you were still messing up the bag for everybody. He didn't do the last few shows.
I think, you know what's funny? I hate to be this person and say that he ruined it. He didn't ruin shit. He exposed a lot. And I just wish people would kind of like listen to his antics. Like, everything he's saying is not a lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wholeheartedly believe he was taken advantage of. I wholeheartedly believe that nobody protected him. I wholeheartedly believe that young man is still hurt and from that trauma. And instead of trying to sweep shit underneath the rug like everybody else is trying to do, I feel like there needs to be a conversation. There needs a moment of healing. There needs to be a moment of closure. And Raspy has not been granted that. But yet y'all talking about let's make this money. Y'all sweep the shit underneath the rug that needs to be addressed, and I don't like it. I rock with that because that's holding people accountable for their actions. Stop being a shitty person and let's talk about this. Excuse me. Thank you. So it's just like my heart goes to Fizz. I mean, that's Fizz Rasby because it's like, now granted, he's probably out of fucking control with half the stuff that he be doing. But there's an action. For every action, there's a reaction, right? There was a reason for why he's acting this way. This man has been neglected. This man his story has been suppressed. This man has not been able to have the closure that he deserves. So of course he's gonna show his naked asshole in front of everybody because y'all gave him the platform to do so. Help that man heal so we won't have to keep doing this no more. But then again, they keep bringing the same people who was abusing him around. I don't want to have nothing to do with that either.
That's understandable. But if you gotta go through that PTSD situation with, I forgot the guy's name, Storks or something.
Chris Storks.
Yeah.
He was like a choreographer and like he was a choreographer for a lot of people and manager. And again, how many times we've heard stories about childhood stars being taken advantage of?
Oh, absolutely.
There was a little black girl that was on All That. The first season of All That, remember, it was a black girl on there.
Really?
Next season, she wasn't there anymore. Yeah. And it was because she was being abused on set. One of the producers were abusing her. What? And instead of owning up to it, instead of calling him out on it, she left the show.
Yeah, man. That's the one thing I'm scared of because me just having a background in entertainment, and I will love for my kids to have, if they choose to be a part of that realm at that age, because it's kind of harder as you get older to try to drift into that space. Because if you start off as a kid, you're already there, you already have the relationships, the contacts, and you have the experience and know what to expect moving forward. And as an adult, it's just harder to get in because it's just, there's so many people that look like you with that same amount of talent who's trying to do the same exact thing. Would you let your kid be a child star?
Absolutely. I'll do it. Okay. Because I'm a good parent.
Oh yeah, I want to see Amber on set. She gonna turn stuff up.
Like, I understand constructive criticism, but watch your conduct with talking to my daughter like that. Like, I'm sorry, there's a certain thing that my dad was like. There was times when my dad had to step up and say, "Hey, watch your conduct with my daughter." Like that's not gonna handle her like that. I'm gonna be the same way with my kids. My kid want to be a celebrity, want to be an actress or be in music. Cool. I'm not gonna be your manager, but I will be your protector. I will be there.
That's good. All right, so we're coming towards the end of the show. This is a great conversation, bro. We've been talking for over 2 hours. I love it. I love it. A lot of great content, a lot of great conversation. This is not going to be your last time on this show. Love to have you back, especially to talk more politics. You're my politic person. You're the Angela Rod to my Charlamagne.
Everybody's politic person.
Yeah. This one, I guess I can talk to you about this. They just announced that we're supposed to be getting a second round of checks.
Yes and no. So the House has voted on it. We're kind of like waiting on the Senate, and I know Trump has said that once it reached his desk as DOA, if the Senate doesn't agree with it, right? And I know there are a lot of the Republicans. When I was watching it on C-SPAN, I think we had maybe 4 or 5 Republicans on the side of the Democrats for it. Does that split the vote? Not really, but it gives some type of hope for it to go through. It's not guaranteed yet. We gotta wait until the Senate okays it. And once the Senate okays, it goes to Trump's desk, it gets signed into an executive order, and then it goes to there. But we'll see, because we got a president that talk hot shit and like to renege real quick. So we finna see. It made it to the House though, so we'll see.
When this first happened, Trump held a press conference, I think every afternoon at the high point of this situation, and I just got tired of it. I was just like, I can't invest the time to watch this anymore. You're not telling me anything new. You're BSing. And 1 week is we'll be fine. We'll be back in the next week. We'll be back before Easter, and next week is I don't know if Easter's gonna happen. I'm like, bro.
Well, it's because they can't say, all right, we quarantine for 8 months. Do you think people go? Look how people actually telling y'all for 30 damn days. Yeah. Think about it. And then they're not, and what bothers me is that nobody's really enforcing these legislations. Like, nobody's really enforcing what the protocols are supposed to be. And I guess it's because everything's new to everybody. I get that, but we need leadership, people in leadership that can arise to the occasion. Like, we need people that's fluid, that can, like, it can be storming one day and then the next day it can be sunny, and I can be successful in both realms. That's the leadership we need. We need flexible individuals that can really roll with the punches and take whatever on. And we need those type of politicians who are willing to be ready, always be ready, so we won't be caught getting ready. And that's the problem that we're dealing with right now. Like he was saying, oh, well, the Obama administration didn't leave anything behind to how to handle a pandemic. When in reality he did, but your bitch ass didn't want to read it.
Yeah, man.
And then when it come back out with his chief of staff, she holding this thick ass binder. Like, yeah, we see it. We know Obama left you something. We know he ain't gonna leave his kids without any type of emergency number for the babysitter. Because this babysitter, look, I need the Obamas to come back. The babysitter's scaring me. I don't feel comfortable.
Dude, like when Trump put out a tweet, it's just like I have like anxiety. But I think it was before we got into this, Obama made a tweet saying, "Hey guys, we're gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Do not panic." And I just felt so much calm. I was like, "Thank you. It feels so comforting. Can you come back? Where are you doing right now?"
I felt like in 2016, we should have just kept Obama in office until we figured it all out. Like, I don't think we should have had an election. There was so much going on in 2016. I was just like, I feel like we could just keep him in limbo until it's time. You know, we find somebody that's fit, because this son of a bitch here and this son of a bitch here is just not what's up. But you know,
I guess staying on topic with the president, what do you feel like the race is going to look like? Do you feel like we get Trump for another 4 years? Or will
you
Joe
know
got
what's
it?
funny? This is something people aren't paying attention to. There's an independent individual that's thinking about throwing his hat in the ring to run for president. He can do it. And if he aligns all of his agenda towards progressive, millennial, Gen Xers, Gen Zers, he can win.
Really?
And he'll be the first third-party president.
That'd be very interesting.
So it's like, a lot of people say, if you don't a vote for someone else is a vote for Donald Trump. To me, that's lazy thinking. Because in order for these two parties to be so powerful, it took organization, it took us to plan, it took us to get out there, to get supporters, to gain some type of traction. It took us to do it. We can do that for the other two parties that we have. If we organize to the T like we should, we won't have to worry about Donald Trump in office. We do also have the option of writing in somebody into the ballot. People don't always think about that. If you could organize enough people to write in one person on the ballot, that one person can win. Hell, you had a cat in Missouri win his election because everybody voted for him. It's a cat.
Yeah. And you had our boy Joe Exotic. He put his name in the hat.
And you know what? Governor of Florida, that sounds about right, because I feel like God was in a really dark and high place when he made Florida.
Yes. God, Florida, man, I don't know. Like Cali right now, they just pretty much came out and say stay-at-home order is extended until the end of July.
Yeah.
Then New York is like, oh, we're going to extend it to the mid-June. And Texas is sitting here, you know, I got a message talking about gyms are going to open up next week. I'm like, I'm not in a hurry to go out. I feel like we're going to have a relapse.
Oh, no. We're going to have a second spike. We're going to have, and it's going to be worse than the first spike. We're going to have issues where we already have recording that our governor knew what he was doing. He knew that it was going to raise the numbers of infected individuals in the city of Houston, or in the state of Texas in general, if he decided to open everything up so early. He did what he wanted to because he's trying to please a president that is giving his state some type of funding. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that I can say about the Republicans, and and kind of glorify them on it. Lord, I never thought I'd say that. But they're unified. You know what I'm saying? Like, they may have the supreme jackass in office, but they stand behind the supreme jackass. Whereas the Democrats, we fight each other in front of everybody. We look like we don't have our shit together. You wonder why people don't feel confident enough to vote blue. On top of that, I'm not voting blue no matter who. Okay, that is dead news. That's like not everybody else can vote your kinfolk. That's the same thing. I don't even vote straight ticket. Matter of fact, I voted for our governor.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, I can say this about Abbott. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with Abbott, but there's a lot of things I do agree with Abbott. He has ran Texas in the best way possible. I love how he checked our mayor here in Houston, because he's been doing some sneaking and geeking, and I like the fact that he called him out to the carpet. I appreciate that, because he needs to be popped in front of everybody during Harvey. How you in the rainy day fund and you got your streets clean before I can even see National Guard to you? Meanwhile, you got other cities still struggling with water in their city.
Yeah.
Get your ass at this rainy day fund pot and go and use your own rainy day fund that you have in Houston that you have not touched yet.
Yeah. I haven't heard. I'm not going to say too much, because the organizations I work for are very close with him and his organizations, but definitely haven't heard a lot of good things in surroundings of him as a person and what he has done, and it's been more
Abbott?
bad. Huh?
Abbott, the governor?
No, not Abbott. Mayor. And it bothers me all the time, but especially I work for an organization that works so closely to you, and I can't, probably speak out against you, but it's just crazy, man, to have to work with somebody that you just know people don't have the best impression of.
Yeah. I had my fair share moments with our mayor, and had some very interesting conversations along with him and some senators and some congresswomen. For lack of better words, it was a heated conversation. But it's, for me, I only go there because I want what's best for my community. Yeah. And for me, being in the community and living in it and struggling with it, their struggle, my struggle. And so I understand wholeheartedly what they're going through. What bothers me is that we don't have anyone in leadership that understands directly. And so it's easy for you to say these people are going to be all right when you're like 3, 4, 5 decades removed from being in that predicament. Yeah. It's easy for you to say, oh, they're going to be okay. That they don't have to work and they still got to pay their bills. Like, bro, what? That's the main reason why I'm so gung-ho about people in our generation getting involved. Yeah. And more or less than being Facebook vigilantes, I think we need to do better and really get involved. Like, this generation has so much talent, and we just wasting it away because we're doing whatever mom and dad told us to do. Oh, work this job, this 9 to 5 for 15 years and get paid. Maybe you might get a 401k or IRA. Like,
oh yeah. If I would have followed what my mom wanted for me, I'll probably be working in a grocery store somewhere, like retail. Like, I went against the grain and I was willing to make those sacrifices. I worked for free for the longest, but I was willing to make that sacrifice to stay in this industry. It was what I wanted, and nobody can tell me nothing. I remember she brought me when she was working for Randall's. I met like the director of marketing or whatever, and the lady she was trying to give me a job, and I was just like, I'm trying to stay in sports and entertainment. I have no interest in working at a grocery store.
I have no interest in working in there.
Then Randall's barely a company now, so I would have been stuck out. So
yeah, you would have been up a creek without a paddle. And like, it was crazy when I got my first job with Chase. That was like my junior year in college. It was actually kind of I honestly advise anyone who has a child that's of the age of 18, if you want to get your child ready, prepared for like the real world corporate America, get them a job with JP Morgan Chase. They set up for the best possible professional career that you could possibly ever have. Really? You learn everything that you will need to have to be successful in corporate America working with JP Morgan Chase. Like, as a part-timer, I got benefits as a part-timer, like insurance and everything.
Nice.
And on top of that, Right. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm only a part-timer, and I was getting good benefits. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was getting better benefits than my mom at one point. And I was like, girl, you work for the state. Like,
Wow.
and then I had a 401k at 23.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
great.
and then every job I had after that will match my 401k. And so I was blessed to keep having that growth. And so now I'm a little mad because everything going on in my 401k getting hit. I'm a little pissed about it. But, and then everybody's like, it's going to be okay. But the way the economy looking, how okay be?
We're going through the Great Depression for the next 3 to 5 years.
Right. So I always advise people, please, if you want to get your child a job, get them a job with JP Morgan Chase. They will be phenomenal. I promise you.
Gotcha.
So,
for the average individual like myself, because when like elections start coming around, when I start seeing all these signs in front of libraries and these community centers or whatever, and it may easily be 100 signs, I'm like, I have no idea who any of these people are. As an average individual, what is the best approach to educating yourself in regards to getting more involved into your community?
I honestly would say to use Facebook. Facebook has a feature where it says events near you.
Okay.
Click like what kind of events. Do you want this type of event? Do you want things that are attached to causes? I typically go towards the causes, right? And it will show you like, oh, this person has this town hall. This person has this. Like these people are making moves. Like they're having these events for a reason because they want people like you that want to know who they are to come to them and understand who they are. It's just hard finding those people. Yeah. To say, hey, I'm running for office and I'm not some bullshit individual that's giving you some lie after lie after lie to get your vote and do nothing for you. Like especially if you're new, that's what I struggled with. I was struggling with being in a district that nobody knew their own district representative and they didn't know me.
Yeah.
So I was blessed because you don't even know the person that's repping you right now.
Yeah.
So this is brand new for everybody. So that was a blessing for me, but that wasn't always someone's case. So definitely go out and do your homework. There's a lot of people that don't have the money to be on the big stage. Case in point, there was a guy that was running for mayor. I think his name was Browser. He was running for mayor and he's a millennial and had great platform, great legislation ideas, and he couldn't get to the center stage because he didn't have the money.
Yeah.
And don't necessarily follow the money. Do not go for the person that they keep pushing in front of you. Do your homework. If you see somebody that's like, oh, you see a sign and that name looks interesting, look that person up. Go on their website, read what they're trying to do, because you can, and then go to one of their events, because what they say on their website versus what they verbally are saying can be two different things.
Yeah. That's
how politics work.
Yeah.
You gotta have to do in politics, you have to do your homework. You have to do your research, because if not, we'll be in a predicament like we're in now. We're stuck with Agent Orange and Mr. Magoo.
And and that I highly agree about doing your homework in regards to somebody. But when should you start looking? Because like when it's election time, it's dream selling season. When do you start? When do you think is best to start approaching that?
I say, oh, child. I start early. I start maybe a year before election season is here.
Okay.
And I go from what I see from that moment on back.
Okay.
I never do it where, oh, let me go by what they're doing now. No. I want to see your growth. I want to see if you grew. And if you didn't grow, that's fine. If you did grow, great. But I always do it a year prior, simply because a lot can happen in a year. That person can drop out the race.
Yeah.
That person can probably no longer be an issue any longer. So I do it a year prior. I always do it a year prior.
Okay, that's good information. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because we're coming on 3 hours now.
Content.
Yes, absolutely. But I love talking to you, man. You are so important in my life, and I always pray that you have the best things going on with you, and I hate when my family and friends are hurting, but especially I have that like survivor's remorse, like right now I currently have a job, but some other people are not as lucky. Some people got furloughed and etc. And I don't want people around me feeling that type of way. So I try to always, especially now, I feel like God, even though COVID is a curse right now, but with my lifestyle where I have 16 different jobs and it's hard for me to even send a text message back to a friend that I may see. I think God was telling me like, this is your time to slow down, reattach these relationships, throughout your life and make sure, oh, she acting up again?
She just woke up. She ready to go out.
I got you. But just reattach your relationships and get them back together because this is your time to do it. So, I definitely appreciate you and everything you've done for my life and you being a part of my life. And I always wish you the best.
Same.
Absolutely.
I was like, just telling somebody our story when we first met. You carried me to class.
I did. Bro, I was doing some wild stuff when I was younger, man.
Everybody did. Everybody was like a superhero in their own sense.
Absolutely. I just want to use this space in the show to allow you to promote yourself, whatever you got going on, put your social media out there, put your Cash App out there, whatever you want. And, if you got a website or if you decide you're going to go towards the election again at some point, just put that type of information out. Okay?
That definitely will be happening. We're still running for office. That's not stopping until we get in there.
Absolutely. So this is your time. Go for it.
Well, okay. So I will be running for office in the next election cycle. Give us another 4 years, 2024. I will not be stating what district as of right now, so just give us time. However, I will be running for office again. In the meantime, hi, this is true. In the meantime, I am working on Food Not Bombs and working with our displaced friends in the city, just trying to get them food and anything. So if you have any organizations who like to donate food, donate hygiene products, clothing, please send them my way. My Instagram is Yin Yang Gym or Yin Yangum, whichever you want to say it. It is the same thing. And then my Twitter is Determined Gym. And my Facebook is Amber Fannin, like the street, Fannin. And I am very political on my on my Facebook and Instagram. And I'm also on my podcast, Dysfunctional University. We are on Anchor and Spotify. We talk about everything that's dysfunctional in this world called Black. So it's very interesting. It's 12 of us on this podcast. It's a array of different people on here. So you'll have different views probably that might apply to you. So that's pretty much it. I'm getting abused with love. I'm sorry.
It's all good. But absolutely, Amber, I want to thank you so much once again for hopping on. And if you need me at any point, I am a phone call away. You know this.
Right? Let me know.
Absolutely. And you enjoy the rest of this beautiful Sunday, all right?
You too. Get you some rest.
I will. All right. Peace.
Bye.